So last week, we left off with you taking off on the griffins after mounting up, and then just these majestic beasts just powering their way into the air to lift you up into the skies. And you started flying towards the Tower of Fell Bats. I don't know why you got me right now. I don't know what it is. That face, bro.
Because he's just so genuinely happy to be here.
I don't buy it, dude.
I buy it.
There's a secret agenda behind it.
I bought that ticket. I'm at the Trin show.
The Trin show. Ticket to the Trin show. Sing, Bard, sing.
Don't put me on the spot.
Dance, goddammit.
Dance, goblin, dance.
I'm a singing
I
goblin.
knew it. I knew it. I said it and I was right over it.
Dance,
Singing to myself,
dance.
I knew it. Anyways, no more time about Labyrinth.
I'm caught in a labyrinth of emotion. As I ride this majestic beast. A labyrinth of my own emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what time it was. What time did we leave? What time did you leave?
It was afternoon.
It was not morning.
It was like
it was late afternoon.
Late afternoon, yeah.
Early evening.
Yeah, early evening.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were going to arrive at the Tower of Fell Bats right around sunset or later.
Yeah,
You
probably.
can trust me, I'm wearing glasses.
That's true. And he's also not Superman, just to put that out there. Or Batman.
Although I've never seen them in the same room together.
That is how that works.
There's been an interesting question posed by someone in the chat.
Huh.
Is there a channel points to spend to mute Trin or Alex?
Absolutely not. And if anybody suggests that again, we're kicking them from the chat permanently.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are you
Perfect.
trying to take my voice?
You
Not only
can't
that,
kick
he'll
the
get
sword
picked up
bigger
on the
than
other
yours.
mics. There's just no way.
Oh well.
I'm about
He
to
will.
be his dungeon master.
You'll just grab Katarina's mic and start talking into it.
I refuse to be a victim. You won't hear me.
That's Trin yelling on Griffin back right now.
Yeah.
He's yelling at the ground. With your newfound strength, since I blessed you.
Yeah, since I'm blessed and I cannot fall.
Not to be confused with the spell bless. I simply just said a prayer over you.
Yeah, well, just basically the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, what is our lucky number tonight?
No, someone pick one.
15.
15. Tonight's lucky number is 15. A number which I expect our players not to hit at all tonight on a regular basis. 15.
And yet
Or
we
higher.
still won't die.
That's
I don't
true.
know, that banshee fucked me up last time.
Yeah, both of you.
I watched it. Yeah, I get to.
You and Locke were having a real bad time.
I rolled a 2 and a 3 on my con save with advantage, so...
Alright, more for inspiration.
I sat here
think
quietly
about it.
watching my brother's soul get ripped out of his body again.
We actually haven't told Godric or Trin
About what happened?
What's in store for them.
No.
They have no idea
Well,
there's a banshee or anything.
they'll figure it out.
Yeah. Can't exactly tell them in flight.
Word.
We'll tell them when we land.
I need those back.
I just remembered something. Anyways, so
There's no way I could fall.
flying across Midheim towards the Tower of Fell Bats takes most of the day. Just kind of this peaceful, very quiet moments to yourself, so you can just. It's maybe one of the first times that all of you of the group has ever been separated to the point to where you couldn't just have like mundane conversation. So you're really just, and the nights are fairly quiet and keep to themselves. So you just have these moments where you have this ability to just have this real insight into the things that have happened up to this point, presenting you this opportunity, just this peace and quiet, well up into the sky, sending flocks of birds and geese flying the other direction because you're on giant freaking griffins. Anyways, well into the night, flying towards the tower, you pass over Oswell and see the city below you, and cross over what you think is the top of the Crone Woods. And at the rising of the sun, you see, in this early light, actually, think about that one for a second. So it's one day, so I actually probably need a con save from all of you at this point.
Oh, we're staying up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned that last episode, actually.
Yeah, I need a con save from all of you. So it's going to be, the con save should be 11.
Sure, got it.
Nice. 26.
You didn't roll 2 or 3?
I rolled a 19.
Is this it's a con save, right?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's a con save.
18.
No. How?
Yeah,
Bad
these
luck,
things
bro.
happen.
What
It's a
if
die roll, not my fucking choice.
Who has, all right, well, who has luck and who has inspiration?
I have
Oh, yeah, we
I
should
have
probably
I
both.
still have my
Hey,
luck.
flying towards certain death.
I actually need inspiration.
certain death.
what if I were to sleep?
That's my favorite. That's like one of my favorite parts of that whole movie, dude.
This is really
The
good.
doors.
The door guards are great.
Yeah, I also love all the hands, the way they make the faces when they talk.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
good,
Ooh.
it's a great freaking
It's like
scene.
a creepy scene, but it's really good.
Yeah.
Which movie?
Labyrinth.
I did the. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Who has inspiration?
Never mind.
Nice.
Every time, dude.
Oh no.
This is why he plays
You've seen it,
lineman, not
yes?
receiver.
Yes.
Anyways.
That's why I love it.
All right, and then we all have our legendary luck still, correct?
No, one of us used it. Used our luck.
No.
Someone did.
I forgot
I
we
believe
had
someone
that.
did use it
I
once.
definitely didn't use
I could have
it.
sworn someone used it.
No, Matt was going. I was trying to get Matt to do it. He's like, no,
Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
Matt wouldn't do it. I think you all still have it then.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of a spot where you needed to use it last episode.
Yeah, I still have my luck.
Okay, I mean, it should be easy enough to just look at your
Stay the fuck in there.
inventory. I guess we should just start writing that stuff in inventory or something.
Yeah.
Like luck. Player, like,
I'm so lucky.
which, by the way, we have that store down there. It's super awesome. Use it to terrorize the players, please.
Well, I got a
That's only for
6 on
you.
that there
That's
roll.
I got an 18.
Oh, nope, that's the italicized text for something else. Let's keep scrolling up. I have so much crap on here. So, with the rising of the sun... Oh, so everybody passed, correct? Who passed? Did you fail?
I
I got a
passed.
6.
You fail? So you have exhaustion? So you have one level of exhaustion. So, disadvantage on ability checks. Obviously, if you guys decide that you want to rest before... whatever, then we'll have to discuss that, or as it's coming up. But keep that in mind. You have exhaustion. You all passed. So
He doesn't have
Technically-
to sleep, but he can still get exhausted for not sleeping.
Well, I have to also not exert myself, and we're on a very high
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
I gotta...
Yeah.
exactly.
He's probably like, because he's all metal, he's just like trying to hold on, but it's like
Mhm.
slipping.
I feel.
Still
I see
friction.
this.
hmm Yeah. The exhaustion doesn't necessarily have to be a lack of sleep. Could
No,
just
it's
be
just
being
interesting.
overworked.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
His servos were
Yeah.
over.
I see that. I see that as a failing on Watsy's side to try to keep the Warforged
It's like when you
balanced with the
when
rest
you
of the
don't
party.
get the new iPhone, so they slow down the old one. He hasn't gotten the new update.
This
Or
is,
worse, he got the new update, and that's
Refuse them updates.
I view it as him flying towards something that hurt him last time. Now he's just like, I don't know if I want to do this.
That'll be
Yeah,
fine.
as he calmly reflects.
I'm
on
pretty,
recent happenings. Oh yeah,
I'm good.
We're flying towards that evil witch that made those ghosts that ripped my soul out.
They did try that.
They were gonna eat me. I
Mhm.
wonder if they're gonna eat me this time. Oh, now I'm stressed.
Or I'm thinking, what's the best way to crash a tower?
All right, so we got that taken care of. So you have one level of exhaustion. You're all good.
Depends on how flammable it is. It's mostly stone. We'd want to shift the earth underneath.
So with the first breaking of kind of dawn across the horizon and across Midheim and the Empire, the chrome wood spreads out across the land. The deep and dark of the wood is easy to observe at this point as the griffins kind of swing downwards towards the treetops to get level. Rising above this forest, a tall structure comes into view, alone standing amidst abandoned and crumbling ruins from a keep that once had total of 4 towers, the same as this one.
Oh.
Only stands a remnant of this past. The powerful coursing light can be seen emanating from the top floors, this bright blue flashing. It's just this steady, like, rhythmic, like, flash, and just blinks on and off, right? Amongst that, though, illuminated are the forms of fell bats. You can be seen all across the tower ruins, and scattered throughout. Their nests just kind of tucked and embedded within these ruins. And so as you fly closer, and the Griffin Knight, they kind of turn to each of them to tell you. They get in like this formation behind the lead rider, and you start to kind of close in and slow approaching the tower. As you do, though, there's a sudden increase in wind speed, and it starts to just push against you, like whipping at you. At first it's discomforting, but then it starts to get so strong to the point that you can actually feel the griffin begin to kind of rock, and it has a hard time keeping in a straight line, and it begins to, like, all the griffins begin to just swing their wings as hard as they possibly can. And you get within about maybe 200, 300 yards from the tower, and that thumbing, like, blue light solidifies, and then there's a snap of magic as these bolts of lightning shoot straight out towards you all, just cutting straight through the wind and toward your griffins. Like, the griffin that you're on, Katarina, actually gets struck in the wing, and it just kind of dips and starts falling towards the treetops. And the knight struggles to ride him and pull it up, but the griffin's claws straight come down and just tearing off the top of the treetops. And it takes him just a whole hard pull. And you can hear this griffin straining even over the wind to try to upright itself. And you can see the spot where it had struck it. There's like these 3rd-degree charred burns, and like the feathers are just completely gone. So a series of like evasive maneuvers and just dipping out of the way to avoid these snaps of lightning as they strike out from the tower towards you. It becomes apparent that getting anywhere near that tower by flying to it is going to be near impossible or possibly suicidal. So what do you want to do?
We need the land!
We have to make the rest of the way on foot.
I suspected that might be the case. Let's land there, that clearing.
About how high up in the air are we?
Probably like 110 feet or so, somewhere right around there.
Maybe you could round landing. When I heard 100, sir.
Yeah, maybe about 100 or so feet.
Is Godric over the age of 30? If he is, you can't land on your knees anymore.
Yes, there! Yip, yip! Yeah!
Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
You're all gonna land? Okay. Yeah, I need to hear consensus from the table.
Yeah, I
Alright, yeah.
sacrifice the griffins. Or is that something we're willing to do?
No. Charge it.
No.
Heroes.
First is children, now griffins. You're kind of real close line.
Sacrificing
That was
griffins is
okay.
better than sacrificing children.
Huh?
Sacrificing griffins is better than sacrificing children.
Ouch. Sorry.
Now, if they're child griffins,
I
You're
don't
back on
know.
the same
Griffin
boat.
serves a function.
Children serve a function too.
So you find a decent enough clearing and basically head straight towards it, and the griffins and the knights kind of just land in this field. You can see the tower within sight. It's definitely within walking distance at this point, and you can see that light is kind of just dimming a little bit, and then just goes back to pulsing, almost like it's looking for something, and just continues to kind of pulse intermittently. You can make out that it's definitely coming from like one of the highest floors somewhere on the inside, through like the broken and crushed windows and open balconies. Like you can see this light emanating from inside.
did this tower in the ruins, did it look like human in nature or elven?
It looked like human.
Human, okay.
Mhm.
Not super old, just
Dead.
old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to dismount and walk over to the griffin that was struck by that beam, and I'm just going to cautiously put my hand on its burn wounds, and I'll cast Cure Wounds on the griffin.
Okay. So you approach it very carefully and calmly, At first, it just kind of winces at you touching it, and you get this momentary look where the griffin's not 100% sure if it wants to eat you or not, but then it doesn't, and it kind of just leans into the magic, and then the healing just makes it perfect, brand new. The feathers grow back and everything.
Like I said, at second level, by the way.
Nice.
While he's healing, I'm going to step out front and kind of do a I will do a perception check to see if anything's coming or moving towards us from the front as best as I can.
Okay. Give me a check then.
Roll 15s, baby.
15's good, but it's not the best you can. You did say as best you can.
Yeah, in the conditions of night.
I expect
Yes.
nothing but 20s.
Did you say conditions of night?
16.
By the way, it being this early in the morning, everything counts as low light. And for the future going forward.
Don't say that out loud. No.
16.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like there's anything coming from, anything in particular. Nothing stands out to you, at least.
And then our spell bat's still illuminated in the sky right now.
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of them were kicked up when when whatever it was began firing that lightning at you.
It doesn't appear that we have anything moving in closer, and the fell bats haven't started moving in on us either.
That's good. Katarina, are you okay?
Yes, I'm all right. I'm just not quite sure what we're going to be going up against here.
Yes, well, whatever it is, I'm sure we can handle it.
Trin dismounts sliding off the sturdy shoulders of this griffin. Ooh, I feel so good, everyone. I think I'm gonna throw.
Let it out.
I ate it. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm
Don't
good.
let it out. Reposition it.
Not as good the second time. Okay, so we're here. Now what? What are we doing? This seems kind of dangerous.
Walking right up to the front door and knocking.
Well,
While I do agree, that is quite neighborly of you, I guess.
I'm assuming that I'm not going to get past the front of it. I'm going to be struck by lightning. At that point, it's no longer knocking, it's blowing the door open.
we could.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. Whatever artifact or spell that is, I think it's guarding the skies. We may be able to approach on foot, no problem. I don't see any craters where random deer have been struck by it.
But we don't know what waits for us on the ground either. There's at least a banshee to worry about.
What?
Well, yes. The, I guess, necromancer in the tower. She commanded specters and a banshee.
Mm-hmm. And the specters were able to create lesser ghosts with their victims.
She also is expecting us to some degree.
She invited us practically.
I'm not a brilliant strategist, but I think I'm starting to see some holes in your plan.
I'm agreeing with the goblin.
I knew there were going to be bats, because the tower fell bats. Kind of self-explanatory.
Well, what did you expect when you knew we were coming after a witch?
Yeah, a witch, but not a ghost. Banshee-wielding witch. I have
Maybe.
sensitive ears. Bards are especially susceptible to cries of banshees. Didn't you know that? Has to do with how we resonate with the weave in our special sense of hearing.
Cool car.
I
And the
thought that was a
griffins could
banshee.
just not wait to get out of here.
They ran really fast.
It's like Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go up to Helm and the Griffin Knight.
Mhm.
What are your plans exactly?
Well, we decided that we would drop you off here. Our plan is to leave from here and rendezvous with the rest of my unit.
Excellent. Well, do so safely. Hopefully we will see each other again.
Yeah, I believe we'll walk the griffins from here for a time and then fly from there.
Understandable.
How are we getting back?
We're going to walk.
Oh, you know how I feel about that. Can we?
Godric can carry you.
Yeah.
Fine.
For all we know, we might not come back. We're running out of time to get to the Shadowfell. We may have to do it from here. If we can.
Is that even an option?
Seems likely that it is. She's a witch. She has an invitation. She probably has a means to get there.
Definitely something worth asking her if we can keep her alive long enough. So I'll look over at Godric.
If she comes at me, I say nothing.
And just maybe a modicum of restraint.
We could
If it
subdue.
doesn't, if my hammer doesn't kill her the first time, there's my restraint.
So are we trying to subdue her, or are we going to...
And I'm assuming we're trying not to blow up the tower then.
Katerina,
Do you have some insight?
what do you want to do?
I would like to try to speak to her first. I would like answers on why she attacked us before, but
Well,
if it becomes hostile, I guess we will do what we have to do.
She did mention that invitation. Perhaps she just suspected we would attack first.
Possibly. Maybe if she's not too keen on attending, she would just give it to us.
Yeah, like a family reunion where they always compare you to how, their neighbor's son is doing so well and is making so much money in the big city. And why can't you do that? Why don't you come up with better songs? Sorry.
Huh.
But maybe it's like that. Kind of.
Perhaps she has a +5 on the invitation. We could just accompany her.
Well, there is also the bounty that is on her head for us.
Oh, that's right.
And I think we can all agree this place would be better off without something like this. If we are not in the mood to kill her, we could subdue her, I'm sure.
I think it will depend on how she reacts to us actually being here.
She did invite us.
In a manner of speaking.
A bit threateningly, but yes.
Well, nothing's going to happen unless we make it, so perhaps we move?
Let's.
Just one quick. Hey, just one quick. Hey, what about all the bats?
They're up there and we're down here, and until that changes.
She lives in harmony with them, and if she truly wants to interact with us in any way, I'm sure we'll be fine. If not, then Glorindel will provide.
Okay, at least we have the protection of the light of day.
Yes, some sort of it.
I'm right behind you.
If that's where you prefer to be.
Yeah, I support you, because I believe in you.
Well, perhaps a marching organization is in order then. Godric to the front. Then Locke, you two have worked together well before in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Katerina, could you do the orb thingy?
Oh, sure. I'll bring out my drift globe and float it out like 10 feet in front of Godric.
Perfect.
Great, I'll take up the rear with Tren, and Katerina, you in the middle.
Yeah, we'll make sure everyone's safe.
Off we go then, there's nothing.
Eyes open.
Alright. We're all gonna
To the
head to the
tower.
tower.
How far away is it from here?
No, please, Jeez-o.
How'd we see it?
Exactly.
Goliath leagues are much smaller.
Yeah, because
Surprising.
we have bigger steps, so we assume a league is a smaller dimension.
If you were to guess, the spot you found,
Half a mile or so.
Mostly just how long is it going to take us, do we think? Not,
that's what I'm saying. It's like probably about 20 minutes solid walking, probably. Not having
Not too
any obstacles or anything withstanding. Yeah.
While we're walking, I'm going to quietly go through and kind of list out to the group some potions I may have available and things to prep for what is clearly going to be danger.
So as Godric kind of just starts rumbling forward, there's no actual clear pathway or anything from this spot forward. So you guys are mostly just going to be cutting straight through dense forest and like underbrush.
As I hit start moving to the forest, are we going quietly or not?
The tower has already fired bolts of lightning at us. I think they know we're here somewhere.
At that, I pull out Gwendolyn and begin hacking my way through very loudly.
Mm-hmm.
I have some scrolls.
So the drift globe kind of comes up, and she just pushes it forward and just kind of rolls forward. With it, like, brightening up all that space around you, you immediately hear something rather large just take off. Like, just, you can hear it thud away. And it sounds like there's, like, a jump, and then it disappears into the forest.
I will address that, but I definitely hand you the scroll of Death Ward that we have in the bag.
Oh, thank you.
Mm. Any other spells being cast or anything? Anybody?
Once we get a little bit closer, I have some plans for spells and potions, but
We're not moving any potions around now before we head out?
I'm going to,
Trin, you might like this one. Scroll of Polymorph.
Oh! I'll just put that in my pocket. For later.
Actually, question. Phil bets. Are they weaker against silver?
well, the only thing I remember was the
I think you should.
damage light was doing to them. I don't know that they were particularly susceptible, but I know they weren't resistant against it.
I think you should have a silvered or magical weapon ready. Either way. But your weapon is magic. It will hurt them just fine, I'm sure.
Why did I buy this? As I pull out a giant silver great axe.
Yes, clearly we had no idea you were carrying that giant weapon on your back. Your
Doesn't
dramatic
it-
timing needs work, Godric.
Doesn't that all get heavy?
Maybe you can save it for vampires in the future, but I'm pretty sure the necromancer was human. That being said, I don't think the bats are any particular type of undead or anything. They're just large bats.
They did seem to be immune to necrotic damage when we fought them last.
Pretty much everything out here is, isn't it? Well, light will guide us. We already knew that, so be prepared. Trin. Actually, Locke. I'll hand you a potion of necrotic resistance.
Thank you.
And I'm deleting it from my sheet, so you better add it.
Okay.
Delete.
Potion of resistance.
I'll do my best to keep my eyes open and scan for the group, since I can see in the low light better than them, and
All right.
my eyes are made out of elf stuff.
So, aside from the fact that it's just barely breaking at dawn and the sun is just starting to peek over the mountain ranges and start casting down over this massive empire, the canopy above you is just extraordinarily thick and dense, and walking through this forest is just gonna take time, and every step feels like it's battling back against you, trying to just keep you from making progress. There are thorn brushes and patches and just felled trees and just like dense underbrush and empty creeks and rocks. And there's places where it even starts to become disorienting. There's like this strange kind of like almost miasma-esque kind of feeling. It starts to get hot, and even if it starts to feel, you start to feel slightly hemmed in to the line of this very thin path that you've all kind of made following in behind Godric. And that the same things that you experienced in the Nightshade Forest, it feels like there's things out there just watching you constantly. You always hear the sounds of animals scratching around or rooting around nearby, or something moves. The howls of wolves just ever present. Like an owl will kind of twisted and just unhealthy looking will kind of glare down at you from up in the trees. And the whole time, every time you look, you see stuff out of the corner of your eyes, like there's something there. But whenever you look, it's just shadows, just fleeting shadows constantly from the daylight as it continues to try to push its way through the canopy above down to the ground.
You know what always helps me travel, especially in weird affected places like this, is a little walking song. If you go out in the woods today, be ready for a big surprise. If you go out in the woods today, you better go in disguise. 'Cause every bat that ever there was will be there together, because today's the day we visit the Tower of Fell Bats. And I just start singing little songs as we walk to try and bolster everyone's mood, given the supernaturally unnerving nature of this area that we're walking through.
Okay. So he's playing this song, and as he's playing it, you start to realize as you kind of, Godric, you kind of kick something at your foot, and you stop for a moment, and you connect the dots, and you go, wait a minute, we've been this way already. You look down, and it's definitely just a piece of garb that had fallen and kind of caught on your foot and then on this low-hanging branch and tried to trip you up. And you're not sure if this is the first time you've seen it or maybe the second time, but I need you to make a survival check. Actually, all of you do, but you all get advantage because Trin played the song.
Ooh.
Yay!
Nice.
I'm helping.
And then I'll need
Plus
numbers.
0. 17.
17?
20.
20.
Come on.
I'm just gonna say, man, rolling physical dice would have been so much faster by now.
It would have.
Here,
Get the
hand this
dice.
dice to Matt.
I got a
The
10.
whole bag of dice. I don't. The
A
whole
10 with advantage? You
With
got a 10?
advantage, I
Which,
got a
speaking
10.
of, all mine are on the wrong side of the thing.
I got a 15.
It's from the
15.
leak.
I know.
What'd you
That's
get?
why I
It
said
is-
careful. There is a leak at the bottom.
It's the whole bag of dice.
Right in the butt.
What'd you get?
17.
17. I got a 14. It's okay. It's alright. It's alright.
I'm doing a lot better. I rolled a 16 and a 17. With
Yeah.
advantage.
Aren't you glad you got advantage? You're welcome. You get lost in the woods? No, you're welcome.
Thank you.
See, Matt, I've rolled 5 times already.
Yeah. I rolled twice.
What'd
What'd
you
you
get?
roll?
I got a 10, I said.
Oh,
10.
I definitely didn't hear
15.
you say anything. 10?
10, 15.
Okay.
So. Super high rolls.
Hey, you know,
Don't even worry
thankfully,
about
the
it.
guy leading the front got a decent roll.
So, this kind of sensation that's been washing over you, this kind of dark and depressing kind of mood that has created this very claustrophobic feeling within the woods, kind of begins to fade from you. And you look up in the sky, through the trees the best you can, and you try to reorient yourself. And you go, oh, wait a minute, this was not the right direction. You look at the ground very carefully, look at the directions of the footsteps, and you just redirect everybody to just follow me. We're going to go this way. Maybe a few minutes after that, you end up in this space, this kind of these tore down barrier, or these old worn out barrier. It looks like very rusted and overgrown, or like wrought iron fencing that kind of probably surrounds the outskirts of maybe someone's home or a building at some point, but you're not sure really what it would be there for. This old fieldstone just been cobbled up in this short half wall, and the top is just this wrought iron topped with these steel spikes. And it seems to run the full length from like left to right, at least as far as you can see.
And there's no way to like go through it. We would have to go over it, right? Just make sure I have the right thing in my head.
Well, make a perception check.
Perception.
15. 15? I mean, it looks like there's plenty of spaces to go through. You just have to go over to one.
Careful. It looks like a defensive bastion of some sort.
Well, I think this is a good time. Let's take a few minutes so we can communicate easier.
Not a bad idea.
I'd rather not waste the magic on something so trivial.
Don't worry, it's a
We're
ritual.
communicating just fine.
Won't waste any magic.
Maybe I just don't want any of your voices in my head again.
Alright, we'll exclude you if you really feel like that.
Appreciated. I'm gonna sneak forward and see if I can get a look of what's going on while he prepares his ritual.
Okay. Make me a perception check.
17.
17. On the other side, it seems like most of there are no trees or anything growing out of the other side. It looks like flat, just deep, kind of greenish grass. But you do see what looks like the remnants of probably gravestone markers.
Okay.
Alright.
I'll push forward just a little bit more. But as I do so, I'm going to pull my scroll of protection from evil out and cast that on myself.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
So anyone who wants to and is within 30 feet of me, I'm tracing symbols with Presto on the ground, and you're all starting to, feel your hair stand up as static builds in the air. And then I just one by one go and touch your foreheads. You get a little static shock, and then suddenly we can communicate.
Zap.
And I suppose functionally at the table, if you want to say something in your head, just, do the Professor X. Yeah.
Your mind's not working.
Yeah.
Testing.
Out loud, be normal. But
Check, baby. 1, 2, 3.
yeah, that.
Pretty happy with my decision now.
Yeah.
It's working, Thrin.
That took 10 minutes, if that means anything.
It does mean something.
All right.
Means you're dead.
Good.
Investigating these graves and everything. Do they look disturbed, or is it pretty peaceful here?
It looks pretty peaceful. It doesn't look like anything's been disturbed. They've just been here for a long time.
Any holy emblems, like Parathor or anything like that?
On a couple of the gravestones, there's definitely a marker of Parathor on them.
Okay.
A lot of them are pretty worn out, hard to read, just at least from where you're standing. Just counting, you're like, I don't know, maybe a dozen or so grave markers. But the space definitely looks like it's designed to hold much more than that.
Push my hand into the soil a little bit and say a quiet prayer, and when I stand up, please remain in your graves. I would not be all too surprised if you didn't. But I'll just kind of secure the area and wait for the rest of the group.
Okay. So, cast the spell. Thing. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm just gonna stay and look out while he preps that spell.
Okay.
I want to see if I want to primarily focus on the fell bats actually. See if they're moving any closer. Or,
Can't see them.
And then I'm just gonna stay and watch around.
Well, they were starting to roost up and everything, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's going to be morning soon, so it's probably bedtime almost.
Almost. For sure. There is a very strong connection to black magic within the region. Like, especially once you've hit this point, you feel that there is definitely something around here somewhere, or something you're moving towards that is deeply connected to either black magic or some other thing, some other force for sure. So, all right. So he casts the spell, and then it's so you guys gonna go through, go around, go where?
Go through the same way Altheon went.
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna follow him through? Okay.
Yeah, I've just been kneeling, praying, waiting for them.
Yeah. So after I finish, we'll just walk up to you.
So I just want to confirm your choice is to go through the graveyard, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Taking the
Because he
direct
climbed on
path.
the other he went on the other side of the fence, but I wasn't necessarily sure if you wanted to go stand there with him or go follow all the way through.
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah, we'll
And Bork works.
take the most direct path.
Okay.
Well, Altheon, what do you think?
I think we're being constantly sized up and hunted in some way, and
Aren't we always?
yes, but a bit more direct this time.
I know what you.
There's
So-
definitely a large center of sorts of black magic that we're moving towards.
While
It's
they
probably
discu-
in that tower somewhere.
Yeah. While they discuss this, I'm gonna go around and check some of the graves and poke them with a stick,
All right. So
Anything in there?
see if anything's been.
I don't know, like someone might have crawled out of one. I don't know.
Okay.
Do they look
Like, as long as we
disturbed?
don't disrespect our surroundings, we should be all right.
Investigation?
Yeah. Investigation.
Alright.
Investigation is not that great. 7.
Yeah, so you start poking random graves. Okay.
Yeah, just
So you get
Does
like you
anybody
just,
hope?
you're just watching, and
See.
Trin's over there just poking stuff, and then
See.
you hit one of the gravestones, and it just falls over. Bam, hits the ground.
Tren,
Oops.
let's not disturb the resting.
That's the thing, Altheon. I don't think they're resting.
Even
Right,
more reason
maybe
not
they're
to
just
go?
quietly trying to mind their own business, and maybe you should be doing the same.
Isn't there a rule of the road about not touching dead people's stuff?
I am making an exception because I'm in the business of survival. Altheon.
Well, on that note, if we do encounter any undead in the tower, I need to warn all of you that my ability to turn them away was stifled last time we encountered them.
Stifled?
Yes.
What do you mean stifled? Are your powers broken?
They're not my powers, and no, they are far from broken, but I didn't expect any of you to lean on my light as a crutch, but so you are aware, any undead we encounter, we will probably have to fight directly.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't think it was a crutch. I thought it was an asset? Like something real cool?
Yes, well, we are currently without that asset.
Possibly.
Okay. So we're entering the danger zone. Okay. Right. Well, we're going?
Let's continue on.
As we get closer to the tower and we're kind of out of the forest and we don't have to hack through the foliage, I want to kind of move from middle in the marching order and kind of get more towards the front.
Sure. So you start moving forward, and then you hear something. Hard to hear at first, and it gets a little bit louder and becomes a little bit more clear. And you look to identify the source of where it's coming from, and it turns into a voice for sure. As you look to identify where it was, you can see that it looks like Trin has picked up a hitchhiker, and there is a small child, a young boy, is trying to pull on his cloak, and is trying to get his attention. And then you can just hear at first broken up this something there, and then it gets more and more clear, and it just turns into, wait, hello there, hey, hold on, hello there.
Trin, wait. I'll go over to the little boy and kind of kneel in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, what's your name? And I just want to see if he responds to me, or
So
if he's
he
only interested in Trin.
Looks at you incredulously at first, and he has these like ragged, torn clothes. Probably looks like maybe they're even singed or scorched. There's holes in them, and you can see that he's holding this this toy, like this toy soldier, probably carved out of wood or a similar material. And he's like, hi, my name is Stefan.
Is she the only one who sees this?
No, you all do.
Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to double check.
Then I'm not just like talking to nothing. Stefan, what are you doing out here?
Oh, this is where I live. Why?
Stefan is a spirit. You're not the company we can keep, Stefan. Are you trying to warn us, or simply asking us to stop?
Oh, well, I was gonna follow you for a little while. We don't ever get company out here.
What about, oh no, like your parents?
I don't remember the last time I saw them.
Oh, they're not here with you?
No, I don't believe so.
So you just live here around the tower over there?
Yeah, myself and some of the others.
Oh, some of the others.
Uh-huh.
Do you play soldiers? Do you play army with the others?
No, the others don't do that with me. No, they don't do that.
This
Why are you here?
conversation needs to end.
You know the Banshee.
Banshee. I don't think so.
We came to visit the woman that lives in the tower now. Do you know anything about her?
Oh, Gaithar?
Yes.
We've seen her around. She's here. She normally just stays in the tower.
Have you ever seen her coming and going?
Probably. I'm not really sure, though. I mean, sometimes she comes outside. She does stuff. Magic stuff, I assume. I think she's a wizard. Although I'm not really sure what it is she does. Now, sometimes she comes out and she talks to the groundskeeper.
Yes, the spirits are born of dark magic. We need to move on.
Where's the groundkeeper stay?
Oh, he stays in the underside, the crypts of the tower.
So I'll say to everyone that's linked, I think Ulthiana is right. And we shouldn't trust it, even if it does have a innocent face.
I mean, he's not doing anything to harm us right now.
Isn't he?
And
We're stopped.
He's also giving us some information.
Could we
I mean, would you
trust
like to
it?
play?
Boy,
It's been so long since I have someone to play with.
we're not here to play, and we are dangerous people. You need to leave.
I'm sorry, I don't think
Dangerous
we can
like the
play
groundskeeper?
now.
You don't seem dangerous.
Why is the
We are.
groundkeeper dangerous?
Oh, I mean, he's the one who keeps us here.
Well, he keeps you here.
All of us. Not just me. All of us.
Would you like to be able to leave?
I don't know if I can. What happens if I do leave?
I don't know, but it might be exciting, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I kind of like being here. I know it's dark and kind of old, and I don't see many people, but I still get to be here.
Well, maybe we'll be able to play later, but right now we have to go.
Oh, I just assumed the goblin wanted to play. He was standing on my grave. I guess not.
well, maybe we can come back after we're done visiting the lady that lives here, and then we can play after.
Promises.
Best not to promise the dead anything.
You know, she seems dangerous. I don't know why you guys want... You should just stay and play with me instead. I mean, what's she gonna do? She's kind of mean anyways. She never wants to play with me. She always yells at me and throws stuff at us.
Maybe it's best you stay out here then while we go talk to her, but I'm very sorry, we must go now.
Well, I mean, if you have to go, then I guess that's what it is, but I don't like it. I'll just go and wait. He just kind of shrugs and starts turning around to walk away.
What was your name?
Stefan.
Stefan.
Good. I want to remember it.
Oh, Katarina, it's so sad.
Well, either way, you know, just stay away from the groundskeeper. He's like uninvited guests. I think him and Gaithar, they talk sometimes. I don't know what they say.
Well, thank you for the warning.
We must continue. Spirits like this may not realize the damage they are doing, but they constantly seek the life force. It will continue to try to find ways to attach itself to us as long as we stay within its bounds. And it's not simply a pet to follow us around. It will slowly destroy you, if not outright, when it goes mad.
Well, I understand your trepidation regarding it, but also, don't you have some sort of, I don't know, obligation to help it
Pass on.
pass on?
No, I have zero obligation to help it pass on. His own shepherds and the Church of Parathor should have done exactly that. And if they couldn't, then I can't. But more importantly, all I can do is temporarily banish it. And best not to raise the ire of spirits. Though I would warn you, it's not trepidation, but experience in this matter.
Maybe we can convince the groundskeeper to just
Well,
let them all go.
Trin, you'll
like
need to
it's
steel
anything.
yourself.
it sounds like the groundskeeper is the one who's keeping them here, so if we kill him, maybe they can pass on.
We're not here for him, and we're not here for them.
And Locke is right, Tren. You do need to steel yourself. I don't know what you thought we were doing here, but our ultimate goal is violence. And you must be ready for that.
Yeah, but that's a kid.
Not anymore.
Was a kid. Now it's just a spirit with particular memories.
It's still a person.
No. I think that's what he's trying to say, Trin.
Was Amelia just a person? The vampire?
It's a horribly corrupted remnants of who she once was.
Great, then we're on the same page about Stefan. Let's continue.
Come on, Trin. I kind of push it.
So as you guys kind of move along the path and move towards the tower, you know, you can hear the sounds of some song or something being whistled behind you down the path towards the graveyard as you kind of go through the obviously overgrown, rusty gates and crack them open and push them aside. You know, you just look over your shoulders and you can see him sitting on top of his gravestone head, just kicking his feet, hanging out.
Take my holy symbol off from around my neck and I'll wrap it around my wrist so it dangles just below my gauntlet.
Yeah. So at this point, you actually do find a legitimate pathway that leads up towards the rise in which the tower kind of sits above. The tree line dissipates and kind of clears away, and it turns into what looks like short fencing and just rundown, long abandoned homes, like farm homes, huts and stuff that have just been overgrown completely with tall grass. You can see the remnants of like squash fields and just this wild wheat that's just run amok completely. The tower comes fully into view, like maybe just another 5 minutes up the road or so. You can see the fell bats and everything have settled into, but you can still see movement in the shadows on the top of the structure and all the ruins that have crumbled down around it. At this point, probably just this looks like it was someone's keep at some point.
What's the plan exactly? Are we actually knocking, or maybe we should deal with this groundskeeper first?
I'd like to avoid the groundskeeper if possible.
Well, when this inevitably turns into combat, which I feel our chances are high, I'd rather only fight one of them at a time and not both.
You're probably
Divide
right.
and conquer.
The boy said he was in the crypts, so I think we have to go inside either way.
Now, the crypts would be in the undercroft, not in the tower, but behind or below it. Well, below it, either way, but it would be a different entrance, I'm sure.
Well, you're also kind of making the assumption that if we go after the groundskeeper, that the lady of the house won't just
Well,
come down because of the racket.
if our groundskeeper's in the crypt and we're on the path from the cemetery to the keep, likely there will be a path splitting off to the crypt.
I'm sure Gaithor does know that we're here, so
Or nearby, at least.
And he said that the groundskeeper does not like uninvited guests, and I'm assuming we're uninvited.
Well, technically we were invited.
Maybe we were. It was sort of threatening, but an invitation nonetheless. Did your crystal have any insight into what we're supposed to do to get this invitation?
Oh, the malfactory?
I believe she just will have it somewhere in her tower and we can just pick it up.
When was the last time you spoke to the being that resides in the malfactory?
I believe it was when those spirits came to the inn in Oswell.
Well, he is a valuable asset and knows certain things. I'm hesitant to suggest, but perhaps you should commune with him.
When we did speak of the tower and going to the Shadowfell, he did imply that I would most likely have to kill this witch.
Well, you're not doing it alone. I think this groundskeeper needs to be dealt with. I know that we don't have much time, so I'm just going to throw in a vote that we deal with the groundskeeper first.
If we speak to her, there may be no need for dealing with them.
Katerina, I don't mean to insult you, but that is a bit naive. Look at where we are. Look at her house guests. And I'll point towards the tower and the fell bats. There are dark spirits and dark magics here, and not everyone's going to be as capable as you are of controlling that and staving off the corruption. Make no mistake, we're here for violence, for combat.
Just wishful thinking, I guess, but I do fear you're correct.
I'm sorry that I am.
Well, I guess here's really the question. If you do talk to her, how do you plan on trying to convince her? Just appealing to her better nature?
No, we'd likely have to bargain something.
There will be no bargains. You hadn't met her. She likes to talk. She started out in disguise, but once she was discovered, she had plenty to say.
She did cause the deaths of several people at the party.
She did.
Sounds like she dies.
If we subdue her, we can force her to give us what we need, but I don't see much point.
Well, subduing her would require violence nonetheless.
Yes.
But I agree, if we can, we do need to get some things from her before her very timely demise.
All right.
Well, will she? Well, and that's the other thing. If we're even gonna bother talking to her, will she be in the mood to talk if we murder her groundskeeper?
I don't think she gives a shit about anyone other than
I
herself.
don't think it.
No,
I don't
obviously
think it
she has
matters.
groundskeeper for a reason. Maybe she's like old and
I think her
Can't pull
groundskeeper is more of an
weeds.
assistant
Or a
in
guardian.
this situation.
Or a shepherd for the spirits.
Assistant.
okay. So
I've cast my vote. I will follow the rest of the party.
I'm with Othion. I think this will more than likely be violent, and if we can divide their forces, we should.
Trin,
yeah,
what's your vote?
I'm torn. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not. They said the groundskeeper's a mean guy and it might help our friend out. But that might poison the well. But then I guess everything's poisoned.
And I wouldn't drink from any of the wells here.
No one here is worth making a friend of, Tren.
Katharina, what's your vote? What Trin thinks.
Realistically, this is going to end violently. And if we only have to face one of them at a time, it will work out better for us, so... we should head to the crypt first.
And that saves me and Trin the vote.
Yes, I suppose it does.
Well, so I vote to barter/murder the old lady first, so that way if anything happens with the groundskeeper, I can say that I didn't want to do it this way.
I appreciate that, actually. You should have a voice, whether it's been overspoken or not.
Yeah.
Alright.
Godra?
I'm killing something either way, it's fine. I'm literally indifferent.
All right, 4-1. As it was my suggestion, I will happily lead the way.
I'll hang out back here, make sure everything's real safe.
With those words, I will make sure I have my weapon drawn. What's it called?
Oh, ready yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna ready myself. There we go.
Katarina,
That'd be exhausting, just walking around like...
do you have the Mount Factory
At least
Like,
doing it in
I
the
do.
tower, right?
on you?
Mhm.
Perhaps you should have it out on display, sort of a badge.
That may not be a bad idea. I'll pull it out and just hold on to it.
With the Mount Factory?
Yeah.
Careful. I'm sure that is an item coveted by most people like this witch.
Exactly.
Well,
Special thanks to Prozac Jr. for giving me inspiration when you got the lucky roll.
Well, if it's out, if he has any information to add, he can tell me easily. And hopefully I'll be able to stay far away, so I'll be able to protect it.
Yes, we'll be fine. I'm gonna look around and see if I can find a separate path or any other possible road to travel down to find these crypts.
Okay, make me a perception check.
Inspiration's getting used already.
Nice.
Oh yeah, 26.
Nice.
Past kind of the dense set of abandoned and ruined buildings right here, like this maybe 8 or 9 of these huts and homes that have been just completely dilapidated over time. It looks like the paths do diverge, and one seems to, based on just what you can see, kind of wrap up towards the left, towards the tower. And another one does seem to take an immediate, right, but you can't really see where it goes any further than that.
I'll trust in the guidance of the Seldarine and follow that path.
Alright. So, you guys are going to head up the path then and take that right turn?
Yes.
Okay.
Fork in the road, man.
You know,
Fork in the road.
Take
not
the road
100%
less
comfortable
traveled.
with either
and
choice.
Make
No.
all the difference.
Groundskeeper sounds terrifying.
I'm like
Awesome.
flashing back to the Simpsons and Groundskeeper.
I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls lately, so I'm getting real vibes right now.
I don't know why, but I literally see a giant, armored undead skeleton with a mean-ass
boils
pitchfork.
himself up.
That's cool, but that's not what I'm picturing.
That's what I'm picturing.
There's also the tree
So-
of
Picturing some
war
kind
where
of
he's
beast.
ready.
Heading
Oh, yeah.
into,
Ooh, yeah.
heading in the outskirts of the farm, you pick up on something that seems to be living in here. From the outside looking to the inside, it looks like there's just tons of what look like just regular bats that are just living inside these ruins, just right on the inside of these buildings, hanging from the ceilings. A couple of them kind of like flitter out and just fly up into the sky and head towards the tower. But more curiously, on the way in, you had noticed that there was a scarecrow pinned up that is now gone.
Oh, bother.
And you hear something shuffle through the tall grass off to your left and right. And the bats kind of are perturbed by this, and you can hear them squeaking on the insides of the buildings. And then you hear it again. It's just this ruffling of the grass, just the tall grass, just deep inside. And you catch glimpses of this shape just moving like along the inside, and it will stop. And then you'll hear it on your other side of you, just kind of moving around the grounds. And you catch glimpses of these reddish glowing eyes just kind of through the cracks, like staring at you. And they'll just like split and move.
Whoa.
And look, like come in and just glare at each of you individually.
What the fuck is that?
It's a guardian.
Are you the groundskeeper?
We're just going out
I'll
and
just
saying it.
say
now.
out loud and
Everybody just turns
try
and
to
looks at
talk to
Karina.
I know, right? Everybody's just like, even the DM was like,
It's not
You
like
don't talk to it. That's the.
it's not like it doesn't know we're here.
Yeah. All right, valid point.
I figured we could just pretend it didn't exist and it would stop existing and not bother us ever again, like that weird lump I found that one time.
that's funny.
Well, we're
Ball
here
lips.
now. Show yourself.
So you don't get a response out loud, but you can see it it doesn't necessarily reveal itself, but it kind of steps in between the space between these two abandoned huts. And it very much just looks like a scarecrow. It's got like hands made of like straw, and the straw coming out of this bag in its head. It's got this like bright red, like torn, just old shirt, and these blue pants, and this like apron that's been tied around its waist. But you've seen like the dark pitch black of its eyes, like past its stitching, is these two red dots with these like white hot centers just looking outwards at you. And it just is doing this very subtle and almost like this mimic of being alive, like breathing. It's just like moving its shoulders, and you can see and hear like the straw just expanding on the inside of it. And it just kind of like drapes his head to the side and just stares at you.
Does it have feet or is it on a stick?
You can't see its feet or anything. No, it definitely isn't on a stick or anything. Like, it obviously jumped down from where it was when you first came into the farm area.
Does the apron have a bunch of blood on it from when it cooked up all those people?
It doesn't look like it does. I mean, it's
Weird
dirty, it's
assumption.
stained, it's definitely old, and it's just been out here
Is it
forever.
carrying anything?
It doesn't look like it.
Thirst for blood, that's what it's carrying.
We were invited here by Gaithar. Is she in?
It just doesn't respond. You hear the bats are getting really restless on the insides of the buildings.
This
With
thing's...
everybody focused on the scarecrow, I'm going to look around for any other signs of movement or creatures or something.
Okay.
How far from is it?
15 feet.
Jesus, it's fucking close.
I think we should stay on the path and continue.
I agree. Someone keep their eyes on the scarecrow.
I volunteer.
Good.
You can see its eyes just like shift and it just stares right back at you.
Godric, pick
looks
up the
right
goblin
into your
so
soul.
that he can focus on watching while...
Yeah, I
won't.
pick up Trin and put him on my shoulder so he's facing behind me, and so he's watching my back as I'm following everyone else.
reach up and grab onto the back of his shirt.
Yeah,
so he
I'm
can
just kind of like
already-
holding onto his
Yeah.
shoulder right now.
Let's start walking. My eyes are already drying out.
You can.
You can blink.
Try
If I
blinking.
blink, it'll move.
Try blinking one eye at a time.
That's working, all down. That's working.
Oh, I blinked twice.
Oh no! We should move.
All right. So as you kind of walk through the farm itself and get outside of these abandoned huts, The scarecrow just kind of follows you for a little while, and it gets
It's
basically
moving!
right up to the last edge of the fencing as you get ready to make this right and go down the path.
It's still following us.
And then just maintaining this like 10 to 15, 20 feet-ish distance, just shambling its way up the road, it just like stops. Like there's a barrier there, and it just stays. But it just continues to stare at you. And the entire time you make your way down this path, moving around the tower, you can see it just staring at you. Like its head just completely turned looking down this road in your direction. Until finally, you just lose sight of it.
Now it's gone. But it could be anywhere. Keep your wits about you. Lots of wits.
Keep watching behind us. I will take the front.
Okay.
Keep going.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think it's needless to say, if we weren't entirely sure that she knew we were here, she probably does.
So, eventually this path kind of leads you to around the back side of the tower from the opposite direction that I guess you would consider the front, since that's the direction you landed with the Griffin Knights. You can see this crumbling pile of ruins, maybe the remnants of a wall. It's very scattered and there's very little to it, and what looks like possibly might have been a gate, like a gatehouse of some sort, or possibly a couple of other just random buildings. The path leads up to it and to this set of steps, and then you can see this like kind of, not necessarily I guess it would be a door, some sort of like barrow, and it's just on the side of the hill, so you guys are still like, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100 or so feet away from the tower. You can see that pulsing light still up there, just glowing and kind of just thumbing that blue light out the windows. But you don't see anything else. The fell bats seem calm. Like you haven't seen them flying around or anything, but they're definitely there. You can hear them every once in a while, just kind of screech or scratching around in the around the area, up in the trees and such.
Well, into the barrow. And I'll just step right in.
Into the barrow!
All right.
Sure, I'll follow.
Mm-hmm.
I let Trin know we're going underground.
Perfect place to hide from bats.
Unless this is where the groundskeeper is.
But the groundskeeper is not a bat.
True.
That you're aware of.
Wait.
Yes.
So Ulthion goes down, and each of you follow. The last one in is Trin, who, as like the sun kind of just totally breaks and comes over the top, as the light starts to just basically flood the forest in the area of the tower, just bright enough for you to realize just how exceedingly dark the pathway down is from this point. And the light kind of just raises its way up to the top of the barrow, and you just follow down in behind. So as you reach the bottom of this short set of stairs, it looks like that this is some sort of chamber. There's some kind of puddles in the corner. Not much else to it. Some debris. You hear a couple of rats kind of rooting around through these like old cloths and these long abandoned, like broken down barrels and crates in the corner. There does seem to be 2 sets of doors in the room. One of them is pretty old and looks worn down, probably crumbled. The other one actually seems in relatively well maintained shape.
I'll go to that door and open it up. Can everybody see all right?
I can see fine.
She
but
has her drift globe
I
out
have
still.
my drift globe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm by Katerina. I can see enough.
Right?
But your drift globe has the ability to cast daylight, I believe.
That's too
Just let you
yeah.
know.
Yeah,
That's
it
what-
can once a day do daylight.
Mhm.
And it can do light too.
It's
Can
the
it?
single greatest
It-
magic.
Light
item
is just what
ever.
it does.
Yeah,
to light
it
up.
can do
So
light all
cool.
the time, and then once per day it can do daylight.
Red.
So right now it's just regular light.
Godric, mind your head.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll go through that door.
I braced her in as I'm just.
Should probably let
There-
him down.
Is... Where's this thing at? So you guys gonna go through the door, right?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Sasha
No
also
is
says
no,
yes.
Sasha. You need to learn boundaries, alright?
So above the door, carved roughly in what looks like
Human?
that would be common. That's fine though. You know,
I prefer
whatever.
to call it human.
I'm just suggesting
Since I'm
languages
not
I
a
know.
human, I call
Yeah.
it
So
human.
carved in common, it just says only the dead shall pass.
Oh no.
Just redeem Richard. We have 4. Make it 5.
Yeah, that's Deutschland Dutch. Pennsylvania Dutch, which is actually German.
Mm-hmm. They just don't want to
Let's
identify.
see. So
Oh no, when they were coming over through Ellis Island and they were like registering, they would be like, hey, where are you from? And they're like, oh, we're from Deutschland. And so back then, you know, non-worldly folk were like, oh,
We didn't have
Dutch,
to translate,
Deutschland.
so yeah,
Yeah.
Dutchland.
So they're actually German, but they call it Pennsylvania Dutch.
The what?
Pennsylvania Dutch.
so I need a
Uh-oh.
check to unlock the door.
Ooh, who opened the door?
Whoever's doing
I
it.
said I was going first, but I don't know much about unlocking doors. You want like a strength check?
I guess that wouldn't be like
You could also
unlocking
just
the
turn
door.
and ask the
Bust the door
walking
down.
door lock on door opener.
Yeah. It's locked.
Well,
So
unlock it.
It's apparent that as you're like checking, you check the door and like kind of like bump it. You can actually hear like there's a padlock on the other side.
Well, I think we're going to have to break it down,
You want me to kick it?
unless somebody has some sort of magics.
Maybe that's why it says that only dead people can enter, because they can like
I
walk
want
through
it to be
doors.
a little bit more quiet. Could you conjure up some something acidic, and maybe we can beat through the hinges?
I could probably heat them until they melt.
Might be quieter than kicking down the door. Godric, I understand that this is literally what you do, but you'll get a chance to break something.
This is the second time you've told me this in the span of a week.
Yes, hopefully many more.
How sturdy does this door look?
Sturdy.
Well, if you're going to do the heating, now would be the time. I don't want to take enough time that I am dead when I enter.
Okay. I'll give it a shot. Why not? I want to put a finger to one of the hinges and just kind of repeatedly use, I don't know. Let's start with the shocking bolt cantrip. See if I can make a little arc cutter on the metal.
Okay.
Neat.
So yeah, just and if the metal starts to go, then I'll cut the hinges. If not, then I would have to use something stronger than a cantrip, and I'm not gonna do that for a fucking door.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So
Mark talking to himself.
as like as this bit of like
You're-
magic kind of just like
We're all in
crackles
each
and
other's heads
sparks
right
and the
now,
static
so-
lightning builds up on the end of his finger, it just kind of turns into like this almost this small like lightsaber looking thing that kind of just flickers and zaps and sparks every once in a while, and he starts going right at the lock and trying to like cut his way through the door. And progress is slow, but it's definitely making an impact. At the same time, though, as soon as you hit the door, you hear just like screams coming from the other side of the doorway.
Like
So-
banshee screams?
Like wailing.
Make a history check.
I'm very good at this.
You didn't hit. Thank you.
Fine. 15.
15? Doesn't sound like the screams the banshee made.
All right.
Made something angry.
We waiting or we?
Or scared.
I press on.
Maybe that's normal ambient screaming.
Fear often begets anger. Either way,
I thought it led to hate, and then hate led to suffering.
wisdom.
Don't look at me like that. Alright, so after about 15-ish minutes or so, lock basically is allowed to, you hear a snap and a ting, and then you hear the lock just on the other ground side just strike. And there's definitely a pressure that sort of just comes off of the door towards you all.
I'll push my way in between the door and lock.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So you're gonna go through the door, like cross the threshold?
Yep.
Okay. So as you start, first you try to pull on it, and you realize that it's gonna be a push. And you push on the door, and you can feel like resistance on the door. And you kind of push a little bit harder, and you hear like things crack, like moving and rubble and rubbish being pushed away on the other side. And you kind of peer in, backlit by her drift globe, which is kind of just up in the corner. And you look in, and you can see the floor. There is just humanoid skeletons just all along the floor in the room, in the chamber.
I'll continue pushing the door open and start to step in. Weapon in my other hand at the ready. My holy symbol dangling from my wrist. And on your guard. This place is entirely unholy.
Yeah, so you step through with no issue. And basically just like this room about a very similar size, maybe 25 by 25 or so. Each of you follow in after him?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so-
Maybe I should wait by the door
Come
just
on,
in
Chris.
case.
And I kind of take your shoulder and kind of push you through the.
Do I die?
Yeah, you do.
Now I feel bad.
Shit! I'm gonna hop the shit out of you.
At least I'll have company.
So as you enter the chamber, and the drift globe kind of just comes in and just sheds light throughout the room. There's a door all the way on the other side that seems to be just swung open, but it's just a iron gate door, so it's not even solid. Looks like it's not locked from here, but the room, just counting, there's probably about 25 to 20, maybe 25 and 35 people in here. You basically pushed like a pile of them and their bones off to the side when you kind of swept the door in, and it was dragging and pushing the dirt and grime out of the way.
So they're like all just strewn about. None of them really seem to be like organized or laid to rest in any like a remotely appropriate fashion.
No, they don't seem like they've been laid to rest on purpose or in any particular fashion. No rituals or rites, it seems to have been laid, but you get the distinct feeling that they were either scared, terrified, or rushed into this room because of the nature of how they're huddled in the corners.
Oh, I don't have a good feeling about this. My feelings are pretty reliable.
If it makes you feel better at all, if we take care of this groundskeeper, all of the spirits here may be able to rest.
Well, there's no groundskeeper here. As I look around the room, maybe we should move on, like over there to the exit.
I push up and stand behind Ulthion. Do you see anything else? I don't like it here. It feels heavy.
It's wrong. Whatever way these bodies were laid to rest, it wasn't peaceful. There was a spell I could cast, but I dare say it, I'm afraid to do so. Detecting evil in a place like this could leave me blind.
I'd say we should be good for now. I trust everyone here. We should take care of ourselves. Let's keep pushing forward.
All right. I'm gonna reach into my satchel on my side and pull out.
Not too bad.
I'm gonna pull out a potion and I'm gonna drink a potion of heroism. It lasts for an hour. It'll give me temporary hit points, and now I'm under the effect of the bless spell with no concentration needed.
Hey, you're blessed.
Yeah. Not great. I'm scared. I'll drink that, and then I'm gonna start walking around the room actually and seeing. I want to see if I can find any evidence of what it is that lives down here, what presence is down here, anything like that.
So, okay, how do you want to do this? Through like a prayer, or are you just trying to like look for signs of the passings of physical creatures, or?
I'm gonna look for physical signs, but I'm not really trusting in my own training so much as the wisdom of the Seldarine. So I will be praying as I'm doing it, walking around and just kind of like placing my hand on the walls and looking at things and Sayanin, Glorinda, although your light does not shine down here, I am in need of it now. Please help me to see that which even my keen eyes cannot ascertain.
Okay. Make a roll for religion for me real quick. There's a great deal of malevolence to the weave in this area. It seems like what you can both feel and see is this empowering presence of black magic that's kind of seeping through the runes and through the very foundation itself. You see this weave basically, when you concentrate on it, feels like it's being pulled somewhere. Like there's this, in these deep dark corners, in this blackness, these spaces where her light isn't touching, the weave just seems to kind of become trapped and be seeped into them.
So I'm gonna, while he's
Gonna
going
turn
around the room.
check, by the way.
21?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was headed towards that wrought iron gate to see if it's locked.
Mhm.
And then
I
when
thought you said it was swung open.
It's like a jar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's obviously not closed.
Oh, okay. So once I definitely see that.
Yeah.
But then when I notice all this, do any of you? I'm mostly addressing the two casters, or the other casters, obviously.
He's mostly addressing everyone with Godric.
Yeah. Yeah. Do any of you feel that the weave
I don't feel the weave as
pulled tight
you may.
into the corners, into the dark, drawn to it?
Let's just avoid that as I tiptoe around a couple of dead bodies, or
It's
a couple
like-
of corpses.
It's like someone threw something heavy on a cloth.
If this witch is truly a necromancer, there is a similarity to her magic and some I've seen with the Dark Elves. She may be feeding off of this crypt in some way. Perhaps.
It's being pulled to the darkest parts, where your lights aren't reaching. I can sometimes see it.
That is unnerving.
Well, I think our theory about getting to the Shadowfell might be less difficult than expected here.
Well, if not here, then certainly in the ruins. We'll be fine.
Or maybe even the next room, like past this open gate as I walk up to the gate.
Some lore that I've read says that if a place is dark enough for long enough, you can simply walk there.
That does sound possible. Trent, wait. Before you go on, we should investigate some more. The evidence of what we need is all around us.
Yes.
So your prayer,
Horrible death.
there is kind of wispy bit of light that kind of come out from your hands tracing along the wall, and these little bit of like white orbs just kind of come out of the wall and go down towards the gate. And when you follow them, you see the ghostly figure of what looks like some sort of peasant in the hallway, and it just simply looks your direction and then points. And then vanishes.
I'm gonna...
You both see this, by the way, because you're both standing at the gate.
Ah!
Make me a perception check, please.
I'm gonna look to where it was pointing.
If you look like towards where it's pointing, it just seems to be pointing down the hallway.
Down the hall. Yep.
Yeah, because there's outside that gate, the hall goes both directions and straight down on either side, apparently. Anywhere outside of her range of light is just darkness, by the way. Just to let you guys
Even
know.
for me, yeah?
No, not for you.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. You have dark vision, so everything for you is dim light.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Creepy
anywhere
light.
she is, her light is, you see as though it's bright light.
Pitch black?
But pitch
Creepy
black
light.
for Goddard. And then for Locke as well, because he has no dark vision either. And neither is Katarina.
I do.
She does.
Oh, you
'cause
do?
of her-
Oh, yeah, that's because you're
Because she's
shadow
creepy?
sorcerer. Because she's creepy, yeah.
Part of my creepy
Trent
perks.
has it as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the only blind person.
No, you and your brother.
Hey.
You're both blind as shit. Alright, so just keep that in mind. What was
Also,
your,
5.
a 5?
Yeah.
So, like, the whole time that you've been here, there's been this weird kind of, like, dripping water, but nowhere is really wet. And you weren't really sure where it was coming from. You're kind of looking around the room trying to find it. And you find it dripping very slowly in the corner. And then as you kind of step towards it, you move some bones, and you feel something kind of soak up your foot and up your leg. And then you start to feel like a burning sensation on your lower leg. And it's so painful at first that you almost kind of just pass out. Like immediately, it shocks through your leg. Like jellyfish kind of just boom, hits your leg. And you, as your drift globe's kind of lighting the room, you can just barely make out this kind of blackish, oily substance just on your ankle. And just kind of creeping up your leg.
Okay, I'm gonna probably cry out audibly, and then I'm gonna throw I don't know, it's right on me, so I guess I'll do... I'll try to reach down and just, like, shock and grasp it to try to get free of it.
Okay.
Should I make an attack roll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not
for
that
sure.
one.
Make an attack roll.
Oh my gosh. 11.
Hey, we all
I
have
mean,
legendary luck.
you reach into it, and you put every ounce of power you have into it, and it just ignores that electricity and just kind of splits off, and just like venom in marble just leaps to your hand and starts going up your hand. And she's screaming at this point. You guys all hear it.
Oh boy.
Oh no! Oh, Katarina!
I'm gonna run over and
See what I can do to help.
Can we see what it is like moving on the ground in front of her?
You can see that there's something there, but you can't quite make out. It's this amorphous shape. It looks wet and kind of glossy, but that's about it.
So I can see the shape. I hold my hand out with my holy symbol dangling, and I just say, "Burn in the light," and I squeeze my fist down and cast a sacred flame at it.
All right.
So it's got to make a dexterity save, DC 15.
Which it fails. How much damage did you do?
3d8 radiant damage. I guess I should have been ready for that. Wow. 22 damage.
Ooh, that's
Yeah, 2 8s and a 6.
That's really good.
Yeah.
all right.
I
So
don't know what this thing is, though.
you took 4 acid damage, by the way,
Okay.
from it as it hits you. So you strike it, and this light just burns on it, and like like it almost like connects to it. It just catches on fire, and there's this very strange, like super high frequency shriek that comes from it, and you immediately see this thing just like recede into the corner and just slip into the cracks between the stone and retreat on the inside. And then she just kind of left standing there in the corner.
Are you okay?
Yeah, thank you. That was not pleasant.
How does her hand look?
Actually, all in all, looks fine.
Perhaps we stay a little closer to the light? Investigate in pairs.
Away from the walls, maybe?
I'll bring the drift globe closer to where we are and kind of hold it out and see if I can see any more of this stuff.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
Uh, 18.
Matt, make a Arcana check.
18
Do it with-
investigation.
Ooh, nice.
Just make a flat Arcana check. It's fine. What'd you get?
18.
There doesn't seem to be any more signs of any hiding in the corners or anywhere. And after it attacked you, the strange kind of wet dripping noises seem to have just receded along with it.
27.
27. You've seen them before. You're 100% sure that that's like a black pudding, a form, a form of gelatinous. But it's way smaller than what you think they would.
Okay.
Mhm.
These are the ones that can fuck up armor, right? Puddings?
Yeah, you would know that. Yeah, they have a corrosive effect on non-magical objects and weapons. Yeah, which is obviously apparent when you see her boots and stuff start to be like eaten away, but her skin and everything seems fairly intact.
So I'll go over to Katerina and inspect the damage and then where it came from. An ooze of some kind, a pudding. It's a horrible concoction of misused alchemy that came to life of sorts.
I must confess, I am completely unaware of these things. Are they creatures?
In so much as the plant is, it just does what it does.
I see. Well, the radiant fire seemed to work on it.
Yes, they
That
have
did
an
very
aversion
well.
to it.
I'm gonna kneel down and just place my hand on your boots. Please make these whole. And as I wave my hands across them, I cast mending on your boots.
Thank you.
They have a nasty effect on equipment that isn't magically protected, so you keep that silver sword close, it will eat right through it, or silver blade.
That's alarming.
If you're... Well, you saw what it did to our boots.
Well, maybe we should, I don't know, continue to rooms without puddings.
It's strange, this one was rather small.
Are they usually larger?
Well, I think they can... The ones I've ever come across were much larger, yeah.
All right.
But I think they can divide.
Divide.
I may have read something about
Like,
that.
cellular mitosis.
What now?
A magic so far advanced you'll never be able to learn it.
Something like that, except for the replication doesn't make something exactly the same. It's literally splitting from a larger body into smaller ones.
Oh. Well, as we know, fire worked.
Most creatures will flee from fire.
Stay close. Don't investigate anything on your own.
So
You got it.
I'll push open the iron gate.
That being said, we're meant to go this way.
Did you point the way the ghost pointed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Very brave of you, Trent.
Well, no, I think that the little boy ghost seemed all right, and that peasant ghost, maybe they have it in for the jerks running this place.
Yes, maybe they do, and I'm not saying that the little boy ghost would have meant any of us harm, but it is in their nature. They would feed upon us whether they knew it or not.
I thought we weren't supposed to trust.
Do you see another way to go? I asked for
It's
guidance,
forward.
and it was given.
Forward or back?
Maybe they want to help.
And then
It seems like
Probably
this groundskeeper may be keeping them there, and they don't want to be here anymore. They might hurt us unintentionally, but I think they want to help.
And lead the way. Well, who's leading the way? Preferably someone that can see in the darkness.
Yes, I will. Keep the light near you. I can see well enough.
I'll stick behind Ultion.
Perhaps, actually, Godric, perhaps you're in the back. I know your stride can reach the front if needed, and that hammer as well, and you can see over everyone else. A rear guard would be very important here.
I would prefer someone who can see in the dark to stick with me.
Trin?
Well, if I must, I know my talents are on quite high demand.
Very high demand.
Yes, yeah. I shall accompany you, Godric. I will serve as your eyes in this world of darkness.
I kind of I shoot Gwendolyn in like the slightly more tighter quarters, realizing how long the blade is, and I kind of pull out the hammer and ready it.
Down the hall.
Alright. So, as you come around the corner, this hallway is more or less filled with these small, like, recessed, like, little individual, like, mausoleums where you can see that there probably were bodies at some point, but they've all been removed or missing or were never made it there. Continuing that way for about 30 feet, you come to a junction where it commits you to the left or the right again. Looking to the right, you can see there's a whole ton of like spider webs. They're just kind of all the way through on one side. The left side looks a little bit more clear. Just a couple of rats kind of on the corner chewing on something.
Kind of glance back over my shoulder. Well, it would seem we should head towards the left. But going somewhere where things don't tend to travel might be good too. Who knows what we'd find?
I do believe if our goal is the groundskeeper, the left is probably a better bet.
Stay focused. Right. 2 votes for the left then. Anyone else?
Left's good as a direction as any, unless we want to reach out to the spirits and ask the spirits which way to go.
Even if they want to help, they may not be able to.
And we can-
Spirits, hear me now. We seek the groundskeeper.
There's a large sigh from Godric.
I look around for any spirits.
Huh? Maybe they're sleeping.
Oh,
Trin,
look.
Wait,
You
there was
just-
one right behind you. It went like this.
In response, you guys just hear the screams coming from further in the inside. And then there's like a rumble,
Can we tell?
and dust kind of just shakes down from the ceiling above you.
And were the screams coming from in front of us?
Well, there's left and a right.
Oh, just left and right? Were the screams coming from either direction?
It just seemed like they were coming from everywhere.
If I know anything about human architecture in a place like this, either way will likely end up in the main chamber at some point.
Well, I guess left then. The spirits, they're silent. Except for those screaming ones, but I don't want to talk to them.
Right.
And to the right looks a little infested.
Cobwebs. It just looks like it hasn't been traveled before. At least not recently.
That means probably to stay away from it, because if they're traveling it, it's going to be more used.
Very astute. Left it is.
Left it is.
Left it is.
I like to pretend imagine that they're just giving each other compliments when they do that. You
Sometimes
guys
we
more
are,
often than not,
are
yeah.
so
Yeah,
handsome.
just now
In
we
this
kinda
light,
just did.
at this angle.
You are my favorite redhead at the table.
I don't believe that.
You're not a redhead, are you?
No.
Yeah, see, we're good.
Is he your least favorite redhead at the table?
By the sake of numbers, completely, he has to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're my redhead at the table.
Sounds like a song.
Redhead at the table. Oh, I thought you were Googling redhead at the
So
table.
as you come around
No.
the corner and look up the hallway, it looks like it's something. At one point in time, that they must have been doing like repairs down here, because there's a bunch of splintering, half cracked, and extremely unreliable looking center wooden pillars that are holding up the stone slabs above your heads in this 10-foot wide hallway. There's maybe 4 of them. 3 or 4, you can definitely see at your feet there's debris, which looks like some of these have snapped either recently or at some point in the future, followed by some collapsed roofing from above your head.
Right.
So I want to investigate to see just how fragile it all looks.
So you want to jump the line all the way to the front to go look?
I'll walk with him, though. I did say we needed to double up on everything.
That's true.
Okay, so give me an investigation check with advantage, because Ultion's going to help you with his L5C.
What?
I'll hold my glaive forward a little bit. It doesn't give off much light, but a little glow.
Okay.
And then don't forget her drift globe is still up.
Yes.
So actually the hallway's pretty bright. You can see pretty much all the way down to the end. The other end seems to be like another turn or dead end, either way.
At a 19.
A 19?
Did you roll with advantage?
As you tap one, it kind of shifts. It definitely looks like any one of them could go at any time, and based on the spacing, Godric's going to be a problem. If he hits the wrong one, it could cause a catastrophic collapse, as each one of the poles would just snap in a row.
Well, let's go huddle up and explain the problem. Godric,
Yeah.
I know you hear this a lot. Try not to make any jokes, but you may be too big.
What do you mean?
Shut up, Alex.
No, that was Trin for sure.
That was Trin. That was Trin behind
Goblin
me.
giggles.
If you see that pillow
And you
on the
giggle,
left,
and then you feel something crawling on your shirt.
and you see the way they are.
It's just a spider.
If you so much as bump one of these pillars, this entire room could come crashing down.
Shit.
I
I
mean,
have an idea.
We could investigate the other way or find a solution.
Well,
I could. Is it the height problem or the width problem for me?
Well, you're already hunched over because the ceiling's only about like 9.5 feet or so up.
Oh god
Oh,
damn
okay.
it!
And the hallway's
higher than
only
I thought it'd
about 10, less than 10 feet wide. Looking at it, you're guessing there are gaps that he has to slip through where he probably needs to at least get, 100 pounds lighter.
There's
I mean,
At the end, there's 2 right in the center of the aisle that you both know. Katarina, Trin, and Ultion have no problem getting by, but him slipping between the 2 of them, if he does it without breaking them, it'll be fine. But he can't be a bumbling, fumbling fool.
Alright, we just have to go slow. I'll take my time and shimmy my way through.
the problem is if we have to leave in a hurry, you won't be able to do that.
do you remember in the desert we had to slip through
Yeah.
and then it collapsed behind us?
I wasn't really going safely.
Well, we'd like to have the option to get out. Is what I mean.
Tren,
Yeah.
what about that scroll that Locke just gave you?
I could take
that?
him over there instantly. It's a bit of powerful magic that I wouldn't have later, but I could dimension door us over there.
Well,
We have the scroll though. It's a good idea.
the scroll of polymorph could make you smaller.
But
all the time.
if we have to fight over there, he can't stay small for the trip back.
That's true. But for the trip back, we could always use the dimension door then. Traveling even short distances in places like this is, I'd be a bit wary of.
What? Everyone go first. I will follow along and attempt to go slow.
And if you fail, for any reason, we're trapped. Or dead.
But, hey, Locke, if we use the scroll, as I pull the scroll out, and we cast it on him to make him a smaller creature of some sort,
Well,
when we get to the other side, can we change him back, or is he stuck up that till the spell ends?
How long will it
It
be
will
like
be your
that?
choice. It will be whoever casts the spell's choice when they could simply remove the spell, or if you're injured and killed as the new creature. But even changing him, he has the greatest odds of hitting one of these scaffold and pillars and bringing in collapse, but any one of us could do it.
Right, but he's also the only one of the group that wouldn't be able to fight off one of those puddings if it attacked him.
Would you be able to just turn
Unless
him
you have fire
into
magics.
a smaller Godric? Then he'd still be able to fight in the polymorphed form, and then we'd be able to come back out?
That spell is not capable of doing that. I don't have a shrink or grow.
Could turn him into a monkey?
Can we create some sort of ward that would just hold the ceiling up?
I could cast a levitate on the stones, but I couldn't hold the whole hall.
Right, and raising the stones even a fraction would be a problem. I thought about my mending spell, but...
I haven't been able to master it.
What about being able to...
Telekinetic, anything like that?
What about being able to control the rock in some way that would make the pillars more stable?
Could
We'd
be.
have to be
Shape the stone?
quick, careful, and planned about that. If we strengthen one stone and the rest may become weaker for it.
Or we could just go the other way.
We could.
Just funny. Talk about it at the end of the show.
Next campaign, we're all gnomes, so we can fit everywhere.
Also, gnome
All
druids
gnomes.
with stone shape.
Also, since we broke in, shout out to Legends of Adventurous rating with a party of 23.
Hello, welcome
Good
to the
channel.
channel. This is Legendary Action. We play D&D 5e like a bunch of badasses.
Whoop, whoop.
The party is currently trying to infiltrate a wizard's tower called the Tower of Fell Bats, and they decided to go in through the underside
Wizard's
first.
a very generalist word.
Yeah.
It's more like evil, undead
Necromancer,
commanding
sure.
witch.
Yeah, fair enough.
Beach.
Not the
Oh,
cool
horrible
kind.
By
monster.
the way,
It's the
Not like
So they
Glinda.
find themselves in a fairly thin hallway with a really big Goliath, and they're trying to find out how to get past these wood sticks that were hastily put in place for repairs or to keep something held together, the ceiling above them. And they're trying to figure out how to get the Goliath through there without it all collapsing in underneath them.
Or using all of my spells.
Or all their neat spells.
Maybe I just, cheer him on. Give him some confidence. Confidence breeds success.
I'm
Nice,
saying I
Roger.
can do it. Everyone go first, and I'll follow behind.
Worst case scenario, he dies a horrible and painful death.
That is the worst case scenario.
And then
Yes,
the
that
rest
is
of us
a
starves to
terrible-
death down here.
Well,
We'll
we're
get
just
crushed.
trapped on the other side. We'll
No,
still have
you
the
won't
scroll.
starve.
We can turn Locke into a little robotic mole, and he can dig us out.
No, he can
What's
he
your,
can teleport you out.
Who's at the back?
I
Trin?
could teleport us out.
Godric's at the back.
What's your passive, Godric?
My passive?
Yeah, your passive perception.
Thank you for rating Arden Roleplay. Y'all are some amazing
Arden?
people.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
Arden.
for the rating.
Sorry, I'm
Oh,
panicking.
hello.
With your
Panicking.
fancy app.
We're
Everybody
panicking.
watching right now, if you like what you're seeing and want to see something else equally as cool but completely different, tune in tomorrow night. We're going to be airing
passive
the
at 12?
first episode of a new campaign set in the Witcher
So you're
universe.
not 100% sure,
At 7:30.
but you thought you heard something fairly wet and slimy coming from back down the corridor.
Oh, there's no.
Something made the squelch back there.
Okay,
The pudding could be following us.
Godric, look at me. Look in my eyes.
Everybody first.
Look in my eyes. You can do this. You can do this.
And I run across.
Carefully.
After granting him bardic inspiration.
I was wondering where that was going. I was just like, oh!
And so you watch the goblin just kind of slip between the poles, run around, jump, tiptoe, and he kind of sidesteps one, trips over a rock, but catches his balance, and then ends up on the other side and just turns.
I stick the landing!
The description didn't make it sound like you have an inch of clearance on each side. It sounded like you have a -3 inches of clearance on each side.
I'm gonna be side shimmying. Y'all go.
Suck it in, Godric!
Everyone go.
Suck it
While
in!
waiting for the rest to go, I'm going to move past Godric, back down the hallway a little bit. If I can see that pudding, I'm going to hit it with another sacred flame. Make it go away.
Make a perception check for me.
Alright.
Alright, well, while he's doing that, I'll start to slip through the scaffolding.
Okay.
16.
16?
Yep.
You're not sure if you see it directly, but you thought you saw some movement like inside the cracks.
Good enough. Sacred flame.
Okay.
Casting
Yeah, so there's a
the darkness!
flash of light. Yeah, I'm attacking the darkness.
Oh, shit. I just did. I'm sorry, guys. Didn't mean to meme us.
Yeah, that's all right. There's a flash of light, and you see the wall kind of catch in this white flame with this blue flicker at the end. But you only hear that screech. But you do see that there is something all the way back at the end of the corridor, some kind of shifting black amorphous shape back there.
Alright, I'll just keep my eyes that way.
As I'm passing Godric, I kind of just put my hands up on your shoulders. Be careful.
I will.
Not like last time we were down somewhere like this.
Okay.
I will take my time, I promise.
Okay.
Put one over there. Knock it out.
Don't worry about it.
I just imagine Trin getting to the other side of the darkness and going, ah! Yoink! And something just moves in the shadows.
Alright, yeah, I slip. I
Alright.
start going. I do the thing.
All right.
I'll do the shimmy.
Who's next?
I push
I
Cat.
think that leaves Katarina next.
As she abandons
Are
her
you
long
sure?
time.
I can dimension door us over there.
Hey, save it for when I'm almost going to get hit by things.
All right, I'll go.
I don't know if that spell works that way, but I'm gonna think it does.
Mm-mm.
I have to be able to touch you.
I figured.
Me.
And then I just
I'm not a
your turn, Ophion.
I don't like it.
All right, make me a DC 10 acrobatics check.
Oh.
I'm not good at that.
I'm not acrobatic.
12.
It's exciting.
I rolled an
All right,
11.
so you seeing where Trin tripped, you evade that little bit of rubble and make your way all the way to the other side. Did you leave your drift globe at the end, or is it going to follow you?
It
Because
casts.
there's enough light to basically hit all the way down, but right here at the very end of where the drift globe is, if you left it on the other side, it's still pretty dark. You can see that there's basically a dead end here on your left, and like Trin is kind of just like looking at it and looking into the walls and trying to check for valuables. There's some rubbish there, but the hallway continues, thins out, and curves to the right, and it's about. It looks like it probably narrows from about the 10 feet wide that this hallway is behind you into about a space that's about 5 feet or so.
Okay, I'll leave it sort of in the middle of the room that we're crossing so that they can still see on the other side. But as soon as Godric starts coming through one of the really tight ones, I'm going to bring it up close to me so that if he gets buried, it doesn't get buried.
How much does a drift globe weigh?
It
And
weighs...
how fast does it travel?
D&D, where mathematics is not your friend.
Well, it's always your friend.
It's always math is impartial.
Drift
Don't let me.
globe.
Don't lie to me.
Don't let me.
Don't lie to me.
It-
When a DM asks how much does it weigh,
Has
Mm.
no...
I'm just saying, in D&D,
I don't
1
know.
plus 1
The
equals
listing
chair.
on D&D Beyond doesn't have anything.
While it's lifted, I think it's basically weightless. You can kind of tap it along.
right? How big is it? Like softball sized?
It's like
Yeah, they're-
grapefruit.
Yeah, they're about that.
It weighs 1 pound.
1
there you
pound?
This little guy.
And it normally follows along pretty...
It can be 60 feet away from me
That's-
and cast bright light
Oh.
for 20 feet and dim light for another 20
Oh,
feet
yeah.
after that.
I gotcha. So, as you kind of direct it to go into the middle, you see it kind of go, but it has no intelligence. So you see it just bump the first stick, and then just kind of sits there and just kind of gently runs back into it and just rubs its way past.
Well, I guess I'm going.
And
I
starts
walk forward and I
drifting
grab
in.
the globe.
Mhm.
I'll go through all the globe
Okay.
with me.
All right. So
Well,
I need
it's
a
not a
DC
little
10
Roomba.
acrobatics check from you.
It's a random direction. Well,
You know, I never mentioned in
Um,
my description, but I'm a particularly slim frame.
I know you have. You have mithril plate, right?
I do have mithril plate on,
Okay.
yes.
oh, jeez, Neptune,
Yeah.
thank you so much
So
for all
it's
the
not-
gifted
it's not hindering me, at
subs.
least.
Good
Neptune, you're the man.
Acrobatics?
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Enjoy those gifted subs. Make sure to say thank you
I
to
was
Neptune,
missing a
everybody.
bullet.
What is I don't know, what was
10.
my DC? 10?
10. It's the same as cats.
I'm nervous. This is a straight roll. I'm an elf, I swear. Natural 20.
Nice.
You touched young shit.
Yeah, I did. I'm just square in the knee.
All right, so you just kind of grab the drift globe.
That's
Since it's
confirmation
not
bias
yours
for
to
sure.
command, the whole time it's kind of leading you a little bit and trying to go to where it was commanded to be, and you just kind of keep pulling it towards yourself. And it keeps just like almost like something underwater just starts drifting up a little bit, and you grab it, pull it back down to you, and you could feel it physically trying to like pull away from your hand. But you end up bringing it all the way to the other side, uneventfully.
Oh, standing on that side, I'll hold it out to see if I can help Godric see a little bit better.
All right. I move over and I kind of hunch down. Probably gonna have to get on my knees. I'm gonna turn sideways and
You already went
slowly,
through, right? Okay.
slowly begin shimmying my way through, tilting and kind of trying to like calmly avoid my body breathing in as best I can and try to work my way through while looking at the ceiling that could ultimately murder me.
How far away from me is he at the point where he's trying to get between those two that are going to be too small for him?
About halfway, so about 15 feet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He's about halfway. All right.
I just begin slowly working my way through, kind of moving in. Like,
So you hear squelch behind you, and then a drip, and then it kind of speeds up a little bit. And from where you're standing, you can see these the roof looks like it's almost leaking, and you can see parts of this black ooze, this pudding, just blop, in these huge sections.
I'm going to immediately cover Trent's mouth so he doesn't
I know
say anything.
it goes down. It's like blops. It's like down this corridor.
I just kind of like look around, like whatever. Fucking
Nothing,
noises.
you're fine.
Okay.
Just focus on what you're doing.
I'm gonna completely start moving through.
Okay, I need you to make a DC 15 athletics check.
That's way better than I thought he was going to give me disadvantage. That's way better.
Uh-huh.
Well, +5 is
You're
kind of
rolling
like
that?
disadvantage.
Oh, that's your ring. Yeah.
Kind of is.
Oh, you are rolling. No. Why are you rolling 2 dice? What's that? Oh, that's right.
20.
20.
You rolled his
So-
inspiration. I'm like, what's that die?
Just
He-
in case.
So he
Inspiration
gets
get it?
he
No.
gets to that spot,
because you don't have to use it.
and you can see him like looking at it, and you can finally see him just kind of shaking his head. You can see this direct fuck it, and he just like jumps through. His shoulder definitely clips one of them, and you can see it just crack, and it snaps, and a splinter comes flying off the side, and he just looks up at it and just starts running, gets to the end, and then that whole section just boom, snaps, shattering, sending splinters. And just one of the blocks just falls and just spoof. All you see is this black pudding just all up the sides.
Oh no, it's Indiana
this is
Jones!
crushed.
It's Indiana Jones, we gotta run!
It's
Mhm.
what?
It's this old fable about this rock that crushed an early caveman person. I don't know
Godric,
what's gonna
you
stop it.
succeeded through sheer luck alone. That was a terrible idea.
Counts.
Well, yes, you're still alive.
Is the ooze still coming?
From what you can tell, no. It's just like it got completely splattered, and it's just all of the wall right now, just liquid.
Can they die?
Yes, but I don't think that would do it. Maybe it's just a little
It's
confused.
going to recollect
Well-
itself.
Just like a Jackson Pollock painting. Just
It's going to follow us until it either loses us or we kill it. Or
Well,
it eats us.
let's keep going then.
At least I imagine so.
All
Does it
right.
have a mind or a methodology?
It's literally, it's like a plant. It's reaching for food or light.
It's disgusting.
Or our life force?
It's just trying to do
Don't
what it
worry,
does.
Tren. If it's reaching for life force, it'll go for Godric first.
True. Godric, turn back. Let's go.
I would like to continue. I just made it through a very tight space.
Well, it's going to get a little more uncomfortable, and I point to the narrowing hall ahead of us.
It's narrowing.
All right.
You're so handsome.
Yeah.
That's what they're always
So it's gonna be a tight fit for the Goliath, but everybody else should go down through this hallway, which at this point is just kind of straight rock, and there's no actual design to it, no actual bricks.
More like cavern than.
It's more cavern than
man-made.
it is rock. So, but it does go kind of upward, and there's like this slight turn as it starts taking up and going up to the left.
Upward and onward.
Leading the way, I head forward.
And now that I'm in the back, I'm going to kind of turn sideways to kind of like shimmy myself up as best I can.
Mhm.
I'm going to keep the hammer in my left hand facing the way we kind of came. So
Mhm.
like, if I see any oozes, I'm just going to
Okay.
lightly just...
Sounds like a plan.
I don't think that's going to work.
All you hear is...
So you're staying at the back.
Yes.
Who's up front then?
I am.
You are,
Mhm.
followed by Locke.
And then
Lock.
me, and then Trin, and
And then it turns in front of me, helping be my eyes in the darkness.
This is literally the only scenario imaginable in which you put the cleric in front. This exact.
You got
scenario.
armor.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, my faith is my armor. And this full plate, this expensive, very
Sure.
powerful
and
plate.
also
But you don't need it.
mithril.
That's just
It's
icing
mostly
on the cake.
decoration.
Yeah.
My faith is my true armor.
What's your passive?
My passive is a 17.
17.
Yep.
Okay.
Going on 18.
That's funny. That's funny. You said what's your passive, and the kobold said that's aggressive. Kobolds don't talk.
So you make your way up this kind
Don't
of
listen. Don't
sort
listen.
of rounding
talking.
cavernous hallway, in this space, and wind up in this kind of circular-like chamber. You can see that it's actually extremely clear of debris. There are some recessed spaces in the wall where there are more spots for bodies to be. In the center of the room, it does look like there's some sort of symbol or emblem in the center of the floor, but from here, it's without fully going in, it's hard to know for sure.
Completely clear of debris.
Yes.
These puddings, do they dissolve things like wood, or is it only living matter? Well, no, the boots were leather.
They'll dissolve whatever they can.
Aside from stone, it appears.
I think they can dissolve stone. It's just stone is stone. It's harder to get through.
Right.
And I think they have some control over what they burn. It depends on the ooze. There's many varieties.
Well, you've been very unhelpful. I'll turn and look back at the center of the room, and I'll step in to see if I can see what that
Broad
symbol
subject.
is.
I like to be thorough.
Sorry, Locke.
Well, there are
I'm
many
on edge.
philosophical takes on the subject. Yeah.
All right, I'll answer you more directly then. Yes, I assume they can burn all of that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so once you get inside, it actually looks like it's an old coat of arms.
Hmm.
It's rather large and kind of dominates the center of the room. But looking at kind of all the space in the room and exactly how they're designed, it looks like probably either nobles or someone with some rank somewhere in this area. Maybe the owners, the ex-owners of the keep that was once standing here. Either way, they may have been buried in here or further down, or either way.
But there are no bodies here, because you said there were like alcoves, but no bodies were in them.
Yeah, they're in there.
Oh, they are in there.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, they're in there.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think we finally entered the actual keep.
So does that mean we keep going down or we keep going up?
There's a door on the other side of the chamber.
It just doesn't make logical sense that the groundskeeper would have been down the other path as it was overrun by the cobwebs. This has to be the right way.
Unless the groundskeeper is a ghost.
Does he have to say it like
Honestly,
that every
I
time?
hadn't considered it. I think it's a goblin accent that's getting to you there. The triple G. Though he doesn't say it when he says goblin. I don't
That would
know.
make a good goblin, right?
Right, or you'd be Godric.
Ah.
I just see Trin so upset, like, you sons of bitches.
This, so the coat of arms, I'm not going to be familiar with that now.
No.
Doesn't look familiar to me. Okay, I mean, I have very little knowledge of human coats of arms.
Does it look familiar to me, perhaps?
No.
Well, I do think going back the way we came is going to be a problem, so I guess this is the way to go.
Fair point. I'm going to just kind of look at the coat of arms for a bit and commit it to memory.
Okay. Sounds good. Anybody else have anything else they want to do in the room?
I'm gonna look at the exit.
Okay. All right, cool. You're doing a great job. You're
Very
looking right at it.
obvious. I'm going
I'm
to
gonna go
go to the exit.
investigate the door and
For
see
what?
if it's locked.
Okay.
And for, I don't know, any clues
Clues to what? Your past?
to anything.
Future events?
To anything. Like,
past?
does anything appear odd with the door? I don't know. Fingerprints.
Are you looking
Big
for...
hand marks.
What are you looking for?
Is it locked? Can I shake it open?
It is locked. Yes.
Does it have like a visible lock on the
Yeah, it
inside?
does. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna try and do something about that.
Like unlock it?
How?
He's gonna
Gonna
smooth
complain
talk it
to the
over.
door manager.
He's like, listen here, door. You've been an obstacle in your own way and everybody else's for years.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
This is your intervention.
I'm gonna try and pick the lock.
Gonna pick one. All right, roll me a check.
Is that just a general dexterity?
I don't know why, but I see Trin
Yep.
like licking his finger.
You
and
have
getting in
thieves'
there,
tools.
like, yeah.
No, I'm gonna do it with a
It's
dagger.
like a weird long
Okay.
fingernail.
So no advantage for you then.
You don't need to be good when you're lucky. Oh, jeez. Dexterity is a high stat.
DC 10, bro. Let's go.
22.
All right. You pick out the shit out of it, and you hear a couple of clicks, and a crack, and then you go. It's unlocked.
Is it lockpicking when you break it?
Is it locked?
I
Because it
told-
looks to me like it's open. Lock.
The lock you destroyed earlier, is that sort of like self-harm?
No. Oh, I get it.
I get it.
Because lock, right. No.
He does have a sense of humor. Huh. I guess it requires despair and death.
Yes, when the light shines the dimmest, I tend to be at the highest of spirits.
Well then, light the way. Door's open.
Yeah, see?
And I swing the door open all the way.
And
Yeah, I'll peer through the doorway before just walking in.
you son of a bitch.
What? Don't look at me like that. Don't worry about it.
So
Do you open it?
Talented.
Well, he opened it.
Alright, so as you open it, there's steps that kind of go up, and you can see that it leads into this large kind of chamber, this long hallway. You immediately think that somebody's standing there at the top of the stairs because there's a form in the doorway. But after a moment looking at it, you realize it's just a statue of the goddess Taylor.
Oh. How's the statue look? Weathered?
Weathered, but relatively in good shape, made of like either sandstone or white marble.
All right.
Go on.
I will. Thank you. Really pushy, Goblin.
My name is Trin Twilight. And we're like best friends. Don't be a jerk.
He's pushy because I'm behind him, pushing him.
Oh, all right. And yes, I do agree with the earlier statement. And I'll move in.
Okay. So you walk up the steps and you see a room that is... A lot of the ceiling parts of it have crumbled and come down and collapsed in the corners. You're definitely sure that you've got to be near, like, either the basement or it's got to connect to the keep at this point, the tower at this point from somewhere.
Okay, I was going to have you confirm. We're seemingly still subterranean right now.
Yes,
right? Okay.
yeah, and you're heading up.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. So this the statue, there are actually, it's kind of a long hallway that's about 15 feet wide, and there's actually a statue of Taylor about every 10 feet, and there's these large alcoves, and in each of these alcoves there's like an actual like sarcophagi. It's actually just a straight stone sarcophagi in each one of those alcoves going up the room. At the other end is like a large archway and another just set of doors.
Is there any symbolism on Taylor, or is she posed in any specific way to communicate something specific?
She has a sword and shield, which is often associated with her casting protection over an area.
Okay.
And being close to the statues, you can see they have some sort of holy, like, aura still left on them. Like, there's something there, but it's extremely faint. And you can see that at the very bottom, there's a spot for candles to be placed.
How many statues are there?
5.
5?
Mm-hmm. Interspaced about 10 feet apart. So about a 60-foot long hallway or so.
I believe this area was originally consecrated. Is any chance I can convince all of you to humor me for a few minutes? No more than 5?
That's fine with me.
Alright, I dig into my inventory and pull out a very useful item. I have 10 candles. I'm going to take 5 of them. I'm going to place them in each of the positions around the or in the statues where the candles originally were, and then I'll quietly take the time to light each candle in place, and then after I light each candle, I will, not that it'll do much, but I'll place my hand on the statue of Taylor and cast Mending to maybe heal some of the weathering and cracks that they've suffered.
Okay. So, when you get to the final one, and they all kind of light up, there is all the light in the room coming from these candles. It pushes this darkness out of the corners of the room, and then there's screeching as you can see these ghostly figures, either specters or wraiths, like leap out of the sarcophagi and are pushed out of the room altogether.
Well,
And you hear more screaming, like coming from, this time it seems directly on the opposite side of the door from you.
did you just make a bubble of safety?
I wouldn't ever call it safety where we are, but yes, I think I've created a small point of light in an otherwise dark realm.
All right.
I wouldn't want to sleep here, but I feel a little bit more comfortable.
Well then, do we continue on towards the screaming?
Yes, always towards the screaming.
We may as well poke around in here a little bit.
There's no other doors?
So scan the walls in the room. Just
Do you want to check for secret doors?
I want to check for a secret door.
Sure, go ahead. Make an investigation check. How much time do you want to dedicate to it?
Depending on...
Like 5 minutes?
Okay.
10 minutes as they discuss.
Not great.
Not great.
Want to use
But
your
I am, in fact, lucky. So I will roll another one. Also not that great.
Wait, you're lucky?
10.
Like you have the lucky feat?
Well, I have some luck from Lethal Lilith.
Oh.
She
I
granted me.
was like, man, that'd be very useful for the bard to have that feat.
Oh, it's
Inspiration.
fantastic.
You mean inspiration, right? Because
No.
are you rolling your actual luck?
I have
Die?
to roll the luck because I didn't call it before I rolled. Right?
Yeah, because inspiration can be used before. Legendary luck can be used after.
Yeah. I was just.
Oh,
I'm just making sure. That's
I messed that up then when I used my inspiration earlier.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
If you want me to say I used my luck and still have my inspiration, though, I will. That's fine.
No, it's fine.
He said it's fine because he likes me as a person.
That's
I got a 10.
You got a 10? There's definitely baubles and gems and some stuff inside all the sarcophagi, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of any kind of secret levers, passages, or anything, any kind of inherent like oddities or patterns or pathways that would make you think there's anything but these alcoves for these sarcophagi.
Trent, what are you looking for?
I was just seeing if there was a way other than towards the screaming. I don't know about you, but I find the screaming quite unnerving.
Like a secondary passage or something?
Yes, an auxiliary passage.
Auxiliary passage.
A
You know,
safe, a
that's-
passage of safe.
Something we should look for more often. Since I came to the human lands, we don't see secret doors and the like as often, but back at Mindrathis and Eridor, they're everywhere. Elves love hidden doors.
Noted.
It's not to keep secrets or anything, it's just kind of a fashion.
They love symmetry. Doors kind of break it sometimes.
It's not at all correct, but
It's an architectural choice.
it's close.
I found a lot of like jewels and baubles and stuff. But even though they might be horrible, monstrous ghosts, I kind of feel like I shouldn't touch them.
Well, those
No.
dark spirits that were housing themselves here may have cursed or haunted some of those items, so yes, I suggest you leave them.
So I'm cursed and haunted, not in a good way. Like, now I have this ghostly ally.
Sorry, I was just trying to think of cursed or haunted in a good way.
Like, I have a ghostly ally. Like, I could name him Blue. And I could be like, seek him Blue, because ghosts are like see-through and sometimes blue.
But you seem to not enjoy having ghosts around, and in that case, you would always have one around.
Well, if it was on my team, but they don't really seem like the ones that screamy ones don't seem like they're on my team.
This conversation is frivolous. I'll walk over to the other door.
Okay.
I'll head over there too.
As you approach it, you hear it unlock.
That's reassuring.
Not the word I would have used.
How welcoming. How welcoming.
Place my hand on the door and just kind of close my eyes and see if I can feel the presence on the other side. Sort of suss out if there's something directly on the other side of the door.
Trying to cast Detect Evil and Good.
No, I'm trying to use
Magic it.
perception.
Every time, dude. It's this gesture,
Nope.
man. I just want to feel it out.
I just want to channel.
Just want to
like,
magic it.
I
just
don't want to
I
use
just
them
wanted you to tell me something, please.
without using any of my spell slots.
Yeah, no, I want to use a perception check on the door to see if I can feel or hear anything behind it.
Okay. Make a check.
I fucking liked it.
That it's you. My presence with you has become infectiously bad.
Yeah.
See, I got an 11.
Yeah, you fucked up the juju by rotating out shit. Oh, it's so far away.
That's such nonsense.
All right. I'll be back in 10 to 20 hours.
As he disappears into the darkness of the
Full of
table.
shit.
Oh, it's a void down there.
You're not supposed to touch me there. That's my no-no square.
This is a way to get more.
shorts you're wearing are a little revealing.
Man, you didn't get fun last time.
Yeah, you definitely didn't complain last time. You were like, oh, these are revealing.
A piece of candy.
It's all in the tone.
2 gumdrops. Oh, there's hair on them.
So what did I get with that 11?
You don't hear anything on the other side, but there is definitely something there, something in the other chamber.
Here, let me try something, and I'll kind of pull Ulpion back with me, and then I'll use my...
She casts knock.
I'll use my, since the door just unlocked, I'll use my mage hand to open the door while we're at a safe distance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll level my glaive at the door.
Okay. So the door swings in, and there's another set, like a small step up of like 3 steps. In the center of the room, you can see that there's this figure kind of just sitting there, like standing in the center of the room. It looks like it's cloaked in some sort of deep black robes, and it has some sort of glowing green tint to it that seems to be kind of emanating from like the edges of the cloaks, and it looks like it's holding an exceptionally large and very like I don't know, I want to say like impromptu, like bardish, and it's sitting there. You can kind of make out these kind of skeletal hands that are holding it, and it has the dangerous pointy end like in towards the stone.
We were invited here by Gaithar.
You just talk to it like
Yep.
outright.
Yep.
I like that. Yeah. Head first into danger.
Yeah.
I like it.
Hell yeah.
Thunder Dangerous.
Thunder
Name of
Dangerous.
our
Thunder
party.
dangerous.
While she says that, I'm gonna walk in.
Okay. So Ultium just kind of like walks past you. He's like walking into the room. The figure just kind of, you see it like looks up, and you can see the skeletal face underneath, and these like exposed ribs in this chest area, and it just kind of takes it in both hands and swings the bardish up, and then strikes the ground, and just starts kind of slowly drifting back into the room. And then you see it just sort of drift up to the corner towards one of the columns, and then just disappears.
All right, I continue walking into the room, weapon at the ready.
Yeah, I'll
I
go
fall
too.
behind,
Hands at
Katarina.
the ready.
Hands at the ready.
Hands at the ready. She's like,
Half casting spells, not
Cast.
quite finishing them.
Yeah,
Right.
practicing. She's, yeah.
Gotta stay nimble.
Nimble. Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta stay nimble.
I follow.
I call out, so you be warned, you are in the presence of Trin Twilight, the great slayer of the Trollocs. So if you know what's good for you.
Okay. Everybody go in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm falling behind Katarina.
Who's the last one in?
Oh no.
Godric, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Probably
I'll
Godric,
take it up
yeah.
the rear.
I hate that question.
So, as you kind of pass the threshold, you get this feeling you're being watched, and you look behind you, and you can see about 30 or 40 ghosts standing in the hallway, and they're all looking your direction. And then one of them, this lady, this like destroyed dress, this very fancy looking clothing, just points. And then they all, in unison, all the other ghosts raise and point as well. And then the doors start slowly closing inward in front of you. And then they slam closed. And you hear a locking sound.
They're locking it to keep us safe.
I turn.
All right, you shut the doors. That generally means someone's coming out. So who's dying?
I think they're already dead, Godric.
So in the center of the room is another one of those statues.
Of Taylor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No candle?
No candle.
Altheon, do the thing with the statue, make it safe.
Yes, my thoughts exactly. And I'll beeline to the statue, reach into my pouch, pull out the 6th of my 10 candles, and place it and light it, and then cast Mending on the statue.
Okay. You set down the candle, start to light it, and put your hand on there, and then whatever that thing was that disappeared, its face comes through the statue, and it just screams in your face, this just extremely loud echoing scream as this like figure, this ghostly, ghastly figure, you can see like through its eyes into this nothingness of an abyss, and then you just see the bardish come out and around and comes to strike down at you.
Holy shit.
Until next Friday.
Oh!